Gwe Agpijlazi, hello and welcome to the beautiful Susan McEachern Memorial Ballpark here in Sydney, Nova Scotia. We begin by acknowledging that this ballpark and all of this region lie within the unceded ancestral territory of Mi'kma'ki. My name is Michael Petter. This is the 2022 Men's Baseball Canada Championship Tournament, and underway with the first pitch delivered by Garrett Nicholson. It misses low to Taylor Larkin. This game features the Charlottetown Goody Auto Body Islanders taking on the Sydney Sooners. And Taylor Larkin, the center fielder for the Charlottetown Islanders. Islanders in their green jerseys with the white striping all the way around. The very sharp-looking jerseys, I might add. Larkin will lead off today. Batting second will be Justin Cormier, the second baseman. And while we've got a quick equipment change, that'll give me time to run through the rest of the order. It'll be shortstop Logan McDougall batting third. Mark Phillips, the third baseman, bats fourth. The left fielder, Grant Grady, in the 5 spot. Sixth batter will be Blake Gallagher batting seventh. Logan Gallant, the catcher. In the 8 spot, Ryan McIsaac, and the right fielder bats ninth, Johnny Arsenault. The pitcher for the Charlottetown Islanders today will be Jay Johnson. And throwing that pitch there, Garrett Nicholson for the Sydney Sooners gets a strike. That's now 2-1. I will run you through the Sydney defense here in just a second after this next pitch. That misses low. It's 3-1. Starting in the outfield for the Sooners, in left, Andrew Brewer. Center field, Jordan Shepard. Right field, Sean Ferguson. Around the infield from third to first, it's Josh Forrest, Chris Farrow, Ryan Sanderson, and Justin Brewer. Behind the plate is Carson O'Rourke. And as mentioned, on the mound with the strikeout, Garrett Nicholson. So Nicholson ahead for the first out of the top of the first inning. That brings up Justin Cormier, the second baseman for the Charlottetown Goody Auto Body Islanders. The Islanders technically listed as the New Brunswick representative on the Baseball Canada website. The reason for that, they play in a league that is based primarily out of New Brunswick. In fact, they are the only PEI-based team in that league, and therefore the champion of that league is considered the New Brunswick champion. So even though they play out of PEI as from Charlottetown, they are representing the New Brunswick League, and therefore that's how that plays out. The Sydney Sooners, of course, are here as the host team for this tournament, and they almost got here through the front door. We'll talk about that a little bit more as the evening goes on, and Sooners fans who watched yesterday's broadcast will recall that we explained it then, but for any Charlottetown fans across the other side of the Northumberland Strait, they'll get a chance to hear all about it. 2-2 right now, the count on Cormier. Able to fight off that one and get a piece of it to foul it off. Well back out of play on the third base side, and the count remains 2-2. Again, my name is Michael Petter. This is Petter Sports and Streaming Services on AOTV, and we very much do appreciate having you here. That pitch doesn't miss by much. The Sooners fans don't like it, but it does run the count full to Cormier. So now Cormier with the 3-2 count. And that'll miss ball 4. So a 1-out walk gives the Islanders their first base runner of the game, and that'll bring up Logan McDougall. The Islanders coming in with a record of 1-0. They had a comfortable victory yesterday over the Kamloops Sun Devils, 10-0. In fact, the game didn't even have to go the full 7 innings. They finished it off in just 6 innings. The Sydney Sooners, they had a close, hard-fought loss by a score of 4-3. against the St. John's Capitals yesterday. And the Caps and the Sun Devils, speaking of those two teams, they are in action right now over in New Waterford, and we will keep you up to date on that game all throughout the evening. Logan McDougall, the shortstop for the Islanders, fouls that one back, and the count goes to 1-1. In fact, taking a quick look at the update on the scoreboard from the game over in New Waterford, about 15 minutes down the road from here within Sydney, all within the CBRM, Cape Breton Regional Municipality, but different communities within that. Grounder to third, over to second for one, not in time to get the double play, but Josh Forrest gets the throw over to second base to get the lead runner. So McDougall reaches on the fielder's choice. Cormier is retired, and we'll get Mark Phillips, the third baseman, up to bat for the Islanders. The Kamloops Sun Devils are the visiting team for that game against the St. John's Capitals, and in the top of the first inning, the Sun Devils have picked up a run. Phillips takes a strike. It's 0-1, so a early 1-0 lead for Kamloops over St. John's in the top of the first, and again, we will keep you updated throughout. We're broadcasting all of the games from here at the Susan McEachern Memorial Ball Field. We just don't have the manpower or the equipment to be able to set up 2 full crews and 2 full diamonds worth of gear, so we're bringing you every game from this diamond, all 6 pool play games here, as well as both quarterfinals, both semifinals, and the bronze and gold medal games. That one hit hard, well foul, as Phillips a little bit behind on that pitch. The count now 0-2. And Petter Sports and Streaming Services with AOTV, very proud to be the count is 1-2, my apologies. Very proud to be the broadcast crew for this tournament. Grounder down to the third base side again. Grabbed and getting the lead runner. Another nice play by Josh Forrest. So the 1-out walk does not hurt the Sydney Sooners. No runs, no hits, no errors. 1 runner left on base. We've played half an inning, and the Charlottetown Islanders 0. The Sydney Sooners coming up to bat. And as they come up to bat, let's run you through the Sydney Sooners batting order. Leading off, it'll be their shortstop, Chris Farrow. Farrow was living in the mind of the St. John's pitchers yesterday with 3 stolen bases. He also advanced on a balk one time, or 4 stolen bases, and advanced on a balk yesterday. Once he got on base, he was flying around those paths. He'll be the leadoff batter today, and one of the keys to this game is going to be, can the Islander pitchers, starting with Jay Johnson, keep Farrow off the base paths? Batting second, the second baseman, Ryan Sanderson. In the 3 spot, it'll be the catcher, Carson O'Rourke. Batting in the cleanup spot, it'll be Jordan Shepard, the center fielder. 5, 6, and 7 is Sean Ferguson, the right fielder, Bretton Sibley, the DH, and Justin Brewer, the first baseman. And then the 8 and 9 batters, Andrew Brewer in left field, and third baseman Josh Forrest. We mentioned that the pitcher for Sydney is Garrett Nicholson. And that lineup will be facing Jay Johnson on the mound. He'll be pitching to Logan Gallant, the catcher. Around the infield for the Islanders, first base is Blake Gallagher, second base Justin Cormier. Over at third, it's Mark Phillips with Logan McDougall at short. And then around the outfield from left to right, Grant Grady, Taylor Larkin, and Johnny Arsenault. So here comes Chris Farrow leading off. And as we mentioned yesterday, Farrow reached base 4 times. He went 1 for 2 technically, as he had a single and reached once on an error. He also walked twice, so he was on base 4 times, ended up with 5 stolen bases. Swing and a miss, though, for Farrow to start off tonight. And so he's behind in the count, 0-1. Kamloops Sun Devils have picked up a second run. They're still batting in the top of the first. As here comes the 0-1. That'll miss outside, 1-1. The delivery from the left-handed throwing Islander, Jay Johnson. And because the Islanders play in that league out of New Brunswick, the pickup players they were able to get are players from New Brunswick, because all of the other teams in that league are, of course, from over on the mainland. This is the foul back by Farrow, 1-2. This is the second time that this team has made it to the national championships. They played in 2016 as well. 3 members of this team were members of the national championship team, Chatham Ironmen, so they were picked up by that team from Chatham. As that ball slips out of Johnson's hand and ends up going well wide, 2-2 now the count. So, and now a chopper down the third base line, hustling in hard to charge at it is Phillips, and he gets it across, but not quite in time, as Farrow showing that speed to beat it out for an infield single. That'll bring up Ryan Sanderson, the second baseman. Sanderson yesterday went 0 for 2, but he reached base twice by way of walks. And now with a left-hander on the mound, he's going to have to try and keep Farrow close. Delivers the pitch on the inside corner to Sanderson, 0-1. As now Johnson steps off, Farrow has to take a couple steps back to first. The bunt laid down, and Farrow gets over to second. The sacrifice successful for Ryan Sanderson, 5-3 on the putout. And that'll get Farrow into scoring position for the catcher, Carson O'Rourke. You'll notice in the top end of the first inning, I didn't mention what the Sydney players had done yesterday offensively. I don't have access to the stats from the games over at the other field, but to try and paint a fuller picture for the players that I do have that information for, I will give it to you. O'Rourke yesterday went 1 for 3 with a single and a walk. He also came around to score one of the 3 Sooners runs. That pitch misses outside, ball 1. That one up into the evening sky here in Sydney, and then well back out of play. 1-1 now the count on the catcher for the Sooners. In yesterday's game, O'Rourke played left field for most of the game, then moved behind the plate in the late stages of the game after the starting catcher was pulled for a pinch hitter. That one chopped foul down the first base side, and the count 1-2. One ball, 2 strikes, as the umpire confirms for us. Thank you very much, sir. Another one fouled back, and it remains 1-2. O'Rourke just a little bit behind on some of these pitches and just a little bit underneath them as well. Here comes another 1-2 delivery from Johnson after a long look back at second. Slicing curveball gets sliced foul yet again, and it remains 1-2 as O'Rourke getting a lot of good looks here at Johnson. And this time it's going to be looped right at the shortstop, Logan McDougall. McDougall had to take about 3 steps to his left, or to his right, excuse me, to make that catch. And of course, that's going to keep Chris Farrow at second base. And it'll bring up the center fielder, Jordan Shepard. Shepard yesterday 0 for 3 with a walk. Swings through the first pitch that he sees from Jay Johnson, as Kamloops has put up a 3rd run in the top of that first inning, and they're still batting with the bases loaded and 2 away over the St. John's Capitals. So the Caps falling behind early, but they do carry a 1-0 record into this game. That pitch misses inside, 1-1 the count. The Islanders and the Capitals, both winners yesterday. The Sooners and the Sun Devils both dropping decisions in yesterday's game. And we'll talk more about how that impacts. There's another strike, and the count goes to 1-2. And all 4 teams that are in action right now are in the same pool. So both of these games significant for all 4 of these teams. So we'll, and curveball comes over the plate and catches Shepard looking for the 3rd out. So no runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 runner left on base. We've played 1 complete. We'll go to the top of the 2nd inning. Still no score. Due up for Charlottetown in the top of the 2nd. It'll be the left fielder, Grant Grady, the first baseman, Blake Gallagher, and the catcher, Logan Gallant. We mentioned that this is the Susan McEachern Memorial Ballpark, and we want to draw your attention, as you see on your screen there, the beautiful scoreboard with Susan McEachern's name on it, home of the Sydney Sooners, and of course, they are playing in this game this evening. And that picture that you see below that, that's the logo that's on the field right behind second base, and that is a daffodil in honor of Susan McEachern. The daffodil is the official flower of the Canadian Cancer Society. Susan was the wife of the Sooners head coach and the manager, Jim McEachern, known locally as Rico. And this field, and it's a beautiful field with the artificial turf, artificial surface infield and the full grass outfield. A labor of love of Jim and so many other people here in the Cape Breton Regional Municipality as a way to honor Susan and the wonderful life that she had. And so we just wanted to take a quick moment to acknowledge where we are here at this Susan McEachern Memorial Ballpark and share a little bit of that with you. As we get ready for the top of the 2nd inning, Grant Grady will step in to face the Sooner left-handed pitcher, Garrett Nicholson. Pair of lefties on the mound today. Nicholson's first pitch over the plate, and it's an 0-1 count. The Capitals finally got out of the top of the first inning, giving up just the 3 runs. So Kamloops out in front 3-0. They're now into the bottom of the first there. Grady fouls that one off the count, now 0-2. And a swing and a miss, strike 3, second strikeout for Nicholson. And that'll bring up the first baseman, Blake Gallagher. Have to say we've been very fortunate with the games that we've had at Susan McEachern Memorial Ballfield so far in this tournament. We've had 3 incredibly close, incredibly exciting games. That one misses outside, ball 1. The first game we had here yesterday, a 1-0 victory for the Elmwood Giants over the Dartmouth Mooseheads. And the only run of the game came with 2 out in the bottom of the 7th inning on a solo home run, walk-off solo home run to finish off that game. Then the game we had here last night, another 1-run game, a 4-3 victory for the St. John's Capitals over the Sydney Sooners. And then the game earlier this afternoon, another close game, the Windsor Stars with a 5-3 victory over Dartmouth. There's a fly out to left field as another situation where the defender was positioned perfectly. Andrew Brewer had to take about 2 steps backwards, and that was about it to make that catch. Brings up the catcher, Logan Gallant. And between innings, we'll go through the full tournament results so far in a little bit more detail and what it all means. There's a strike to Gallant and the count 0-1. And we'll also set up the schedule for the weekend. Grounder to second base, over to haul it in as Sanderson gets it to Brewer, Justin Brewer, in time for the 3rd out and a quick 3-up, 3-down inning in the top of the 2nd. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on base. We've played 1.5, and we're still looking for the first run of the ball game. Due up in the bottom of the 2nd, it'll be Sean Ferguson, the right fielder, DH Breton Sibley, and first baseman Justin Brewer. So, as we mentioned, the game earlier today on this field was a 5-3 victory for the Windsor Stars over the Dartmouth Mooseheads. That combined with the Edmonton Cubs 5-1 victory over the Elmwood Giants means that in the other pool, not the pool involving these two teams, and I believe that is Pool B, that is the other pool. Normally a host team is in Pool A. So in Pool B, we're going to go with that. The Windsor Stars are leading the way with a 2-0 record after a 7-3 victory over the Cubs last night and that 5-3 victory over Dartmouth earlier this afternoon. Both the Cubs and the Elmwood Giants are 1-1, and the Dartmouth Mooseheads are in trouble at 0-2. In this pool, as we mentioned, the 2 results from yesterday, Sydney dropping the 4-3 decision to the St. John's Capitals, and the Charlottetown Islanders with the 10-0 10-run rule shortened game victory over Kamloops means that St. John's and Charlottetown both looking to go to 2-0, and Sydney and Kamloops both trying to avoid dropping to 0-2 in this evening's games, I should say. Here comes Sean Ferguson leading things off in the 2nd. Ferguson, a chopper down to 3rd. Throw across the diamond just in time, beats out Ferguson. As a nice play there by Phillips to pick up that ball and get it across the field for the first out. That'll bring up Breton Sibley. He's DHing tonight. In yesterday's game, Sibley was playing first base. He went 0 for 2 with a pair of walks. He also came around to score one of the 3 runs for Dartmouth in their 3-run 6th inning as they were trying to mount a comeback. They ended up falling just short, as we mentioned. And the first pitch to Sibley, he fouls it back into the screen. The count goes to 0-1. So 2 pools of 4 teams each. The 4th place team at the end of pool play in each pool is eliminated at that point. And then arcing curveball there misses, and the count goes to 1-1. And then the 2nd place team in Pool A will play 3rd place in Pool B and vice versa. 2nd in B plays 3rd in A. Those are the 2 quarterfinal games that will happen Saturday afternoon and evening. The 2 teams that finish first in each pool will advance directly to Sunday morning and Sunday early afternoon's semifinals. where they will await the winners of those quarterfinal games. That pitch just misses, and the count goes to 3-1. And then, of course, the two semifinal winners will advance to Sunday evening's gold medal game, while the two teams that fall in the semifinal, they'll still have one more chance to win some hardware. Sorry, it's now 3-2, with the bronze medal game a little bit earlier, Sunday late afternoon into the evening. So the key for Charlottetown, trying to... There's a nice play at second base. Cormier with the diving stab, and just in time gets the throw across to first. What a play by Cormier to nab that one for the second out of the inning, and that'll bring up Justin Brewer. Brewer yesterday did not play, so this is his first at-bat of the tournament, as he gets his first cuts. And his first pitch he sees right down the third base line, gobbled up by Mark Phillips at the bag, and the throw across the diamond. 3 ground outs lead to a 1-2-3 bottom of the third inning. And we'll go to the bottom of the second inning, excuse me. No runs, no hits, no errors, no one left on base. We'll go to the top of the third and do up for Charlottetown. It's 8-9-1. The DH, Ryan McIsaac, the right fielder, Johnny Arsenault, and then the center fielder, Taylor Larkin. And we do like to try and make our broadcasts a little bit interactive here on Petter Sports and Streaming Services. So you can send me a message either through Twitter or through Facebook. If you want to reach me on Twitter, it's at PetterPC_sports. Again, that's at PETTERPC_sports, just like you see it on your screen there right now. And Facebook, it's facebook.com/PetterSports. To send me a message, let me know where you're watching from, who you're cheering for. If you have a question, if you have a comment, as long as the comment's not too mean. If you have a question or a comment, or if I'm mispronouncing a player's name or anything along those lines, by all means, send me a message either through Twitter or through Facebook. I love hearing from the fans, knowing where they're watching from, who they're cheering for, all those kinds of things, and we'll try and get your messages onto the air as well. So there we are. Ryan McIsaac will lead off for the Islanders here in the top of the third inning. The left-handed hitter facing the left-handed pitcher on a beautiful evening here in Sydney. Grounder to short. Farrow charges in, gets to the ball, throw across in time for the first out. One pitch, one out. Both of these pitchers being very efficient so far this evening. And when you're talking about needing to try and win a national championship, if you have to go through the quarterfinal, you need to play 6 games in 4 days. So every ounce of efficiency that you can get out of a pitcher, incredibly vital. Arsenault swings through the first pitch, 0-1 the count. The Capitals have picked up 1 run in the bottom of the first inning, so they're now only trailing 3-1. They're still batting in the bottom of the first. There's a shot out to center field, but hustling over to get to it is Jordan Shepherd. And 3 pitches and 2 outs for Nicholson. And we talked about that efficiency. Well, Garrett Nicholson right now, here in the top of the third, he is a paragon of efficiency at this point, and he'll face Taylor Larkin. Larkin led off the game with a strikeout back in the first, one of 2 strikeout victims for Nicholson so far. First pitch misses, ball 1. And the left-hander ready to deliver to the left-hander again, and there's another one that just misses. 2-0. I was given this question in the last game, and I very much appreciated the question. One of the viewers was asking me, what are the dimensions of this field? That pitch misses, and it's now 3-0. It is 355 to straightaway center, 340 in the gaps, and 325 down each of the foul lines. So there you have the answer to that question. Strike delivered there, and the count goes to 3-1. Larkin did go full in the count his first at-bat before striking out. Takes that one, a strike at the knees, and the count now 3-2. Here comes the payoff pitch, and it just misses ball 4. Second walk issued by Nicholson. That'll bring up Justin Cormier. He was the other walk back in the first inning. The only 2 runners to this point who've reached base for the Islanders. Cormier with that walk in the first, and Larkin with that walk here with 2 out in the third. First pitch catches the inside part of the plate, 0-1 the count. Again, a beautiful evening for baseball here in Sydney. It was hot and humid during the day, but the temperature cooling off a bit here this evening. Runner going, throw down to second. In time, and caught stealing is Larkin, as Farrow able to get the tag down in time on Larkin. So Justin Cormier will be leading off the 4th inning, as he was standing at the plate at that point for out number 3. And so we'll have to go to the bottom of the 3rd, looking for the first run of the game. Still waiting for that. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on base after the walk nullified by the caught stealing. We'll go to the bottom of the 3 with goose eggs. Due up in the bottom of the 3rd inning, it's left fielder Andrew Brewer, third baseman Josh Forrest, and then back around to the top of the order for Chris Farrow for the Sydney Sooners. And again, big thanks to the Sooners organizing committee for inviting Petter Sports and Streaming Services and AOTV to be here this weekend. We really do appreciate you guys putting the trust in us to deliver these games to the viewers, and we want to thank you, the viewers, as well, for tuning into these games, because if we didn't have you guys watching, we wouldn't have a job to do. So we are all very much appreciative that you are tuning in wherever you're joining us from. And like I said, send me a message through Twitter or Facebook to let me know where that is, and make it a interactive broadcast. St. John's Capitals picked up another run in the bottom of the first. They're still batting, and they're now only down 3-2 as Andrew Brewer up to the plate. In last night's game, Brewer came in as a pinch runner, came in as a pinch hitter and struck out in his only plate appearance. Takes a strike there. And the count now 2-1. Chopper down to second, gathered in by Cormier. Over to first, and Gallagher with his foot on the bag gets the out. So one away here, bottom of 3. That'll bring up the third baseman, Josh Forrest. Forrest yesterday did not, where is he? There he is. He went 0 for 4 reached once on a fielder's choice, but struck out, popped out, grounded into a fielder's choice, and grounded into a double play. Takes a strike on the outside corner, the count 0-1. Newfoundland and Labrador champions, the St. John's Capitals, are retired in the bottom of the first inning after scoring 2 runs to close the gap. So Kamloops now batting in the top of the second, up 3-2. Forrest stays alive, chopping that one foul down the first base side. And again, both St. John's and Charlottetown trying to go to 2-0 tonight and set up a winner-take-all matchup for the pool and the bye to Sunday morning semifinal. That pitch misses inside, and the count goes to 1-2. That one misses outside, 2-2 now the count. In this battle of maritime teams. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. And that's the second K for Jay Johnson on the evening. Brings us back around to the top of the order for Chris Farrow. He singled. An infield single, his first time up, leading off the game leading off the bottom of the first inning. And Farrow, again, his game predicated on speed, takes that one inside, ball 1. Takes inside, ball 2. Here comes the 2-0 delivery from Johnson. Swung on and missed that time by Farrow, and it's now 2-1. Looped over the head of the second baseman into right center field. And Farrow goes to 2 for 2 on the day with the 2-out single. That'll bring up Ryan Sanderson. Sanderson with the sacrifice bunt in the first. So no official at-bats as of yet in today's game. So the lefty Johnson having to keep an eye on Farrow yet again. And that pitch outside, ball 1. Runner going, swing and a miss. Throw down to second, not nearly in time, as we talked about Farrow's speed. He's nearly automatic for those stolen bases, is Chris Farrow. That pitch will miss outside, and the count goes to 2-1. Here comes the 2-1 offering, and that one gets away from the catcher Logan Gallant, but not far enough for Farrow to take advantage of it. But the count now 3-1 on Sanderson. I mentioned it early in the game earlier today. The quality of baseball that we're seeing from these players has just been phenomenal. There's a walk to Sanderson. And so that puts runners at first and second with 2 away. And Carson O'Rourke, who lined out to the shortstop his first time up. A looping liner right at Logan McDougall. The quality of baseball that we've seen, not just because they've been close games, but it has been very, very good quality ball. We've seen great pitching. We've seen some phenomenal speed, and just a wonderful, wonderful weekend of baseball already. And we're only 4 games in of the 12 games overall that we're going to have for you here on Petter Sports and Streaming Services through AOTV. The first pitch misses in, ball 1. And again, if we had the people and had the gear, we'd have another crew set up over in New Waterford as well. But looping curveball misses outside, and the count goes to 2-0. Now, I will confess that I love the game of baseball, but I'm not knowledgeable enough to look at a pitch and tell you curveball versus slider versus sinker versus, I can tell a breaking pitch from a fastball, obviously, but what type of breaking pitch it is, just by watching it, I am a little bit of a novice on that. I can't tell by watching a fastball if it's a 2-seamer or a 4-seamer. I know there's a difference. I know that was a darn good fastball right there that O'Rourke swung on and missed. Or a cut fastball versus a, But I can tell you, when I see a pitcher who's hitting his mark and getting batters to chase, there's a looper, and backing up and making the catch is the first baseman, Blake Gallagher, for the 3rd out of the inning. So a hit and a walk don't end up hurting the Charlottetown Islanders. We'll go to the top of the 4th, still looking for the first run of the game. No runs on 1 hit, no errors, 2 runners left on base. The Sooners have now left 3 on. The Islanders have just left 1 runner on. Which team is going to end up regretting the missed opportunities more? Well, we'll have to wait and find out. We'll go to top of 4, still looking for the first run of the ball game. Justin Cormier, Logan McDougall, and Mark Phillips due up in the 3rd. Quick look at the score over at Jerry Marsh Field in New Waterford. The Kamloops Sun Devils put up another run in the top of the 2nd, so they're now up 4-2. Still batting with 2 out in the top of the 2nd. And here comes Justin Cormier. He was at bat in the top of the 3rd when Taylor Larkin was caught stealing to end that inning. That one fouled high into the air over the backstop, and it'll come down on top of the merch tent, I think it was, that it hit. But it was gathered in by the tent safely. Nobody got injured. The ball softly coming down to the ground after that. There's a strike on the outside corner. The count now 1-2. Thank you, umpire, for confirming that count for us. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. High into the air above the light, but the second baseman able to continue tracking it as Ryan Sanderson gets underneath the ball. It's funny, as you watch the ball go up, all of a sudden it becomes dark because it gets above the lights and then comes back into the light. But Sanderson able to stay with it the whole way and make the catch for the first out of the inning. That'll bring up Logan McDougall. He reached on a fielder's choice, so 0 for 1 so far on the evening. First pitch misses outside. 1-0 the count. One thing I'll say about these Sydney fans, and there are a lot of them here tonight, they are very vocal about their opinions if an umpire makes a call that they disagree with. Chopped down to the third baseman, gathered in there by Forrest across the diamond in plenty of time for the out, as Gallagher able to gather the ball in easily on the throw from Forrest, or as Brewer was able to gather the ball in on the throw from Forrest. Gallagher's the first baseman for the Islanders. That'll bring up Mark Phillips, the third baseman. Phillips grounded technically into a fielder's choice. He grounded out, though, to end the first inning. That one fouled out of play, well out on the first base side. 0-1 the count. Swings through, gets a piece of that one. Foul tip right back into the glove, and the count 0-2. As this game is just motoring along here, we're in the top of the fourth inning. They're just now into the bottom of the second in New Waterford. And that's what happens when you get a pitcher's duel like we've got going right now. Jay Johnson and Garrett Nicholson both doing a great job. That one chopped foul down the first base side. Through the first 3 full innings, we've seen just 4 above the maximum number of batters. And so far here in the top of the fourth, it's 2 up and 2 down as well. Which makes me just say, good thing I'm not working on an hourly wage on these broadcasts. Or at least on this one. Of course, I say that now. Watch this game go 12 innings. At which point I'll wish I was working on an hourly wage. Quick conference at the mound. And Nicholson and O'Rourke, Carson O'Rourke that is, get themselves squared away. That one launched deep into left field, and that will go all the way out for a home run. Brewer was going back, trying to track the ball, but no defense against that as it goes over at around the 335 mark or so. A solo shot for Mark Phillips. And the Charlottetown Goody Auto Body Islanders take the 1-0 lead. That'll bring up Grant Grady. He struck out his first time up. And the home run ball getting thrown back into the field. So that will lead to a brief little delay here. That's the third home run we've seen go over the left field fence so far this evening, or so far today, I should say. There's a called strike as Grady's at-bat begins. There were 2 home runs out of over left field, almost that exact same spot out of left field in this afternoon's game. Swing and a miss there, and the count goes to 0-2. And it's the 4th home run we've seen overall from this field, as there was that home run that I mentioned in the afternoon game yesterday, the walk-off home run. That one fouled back, and the count stays 0-2 to Grady. That's the one thing I don't have yet, is a signature home run call. Gonna have to figure out something for that, especially if the hitters continue to perform the way they have. As mentioned, this is the 4th home run in 4 games that we've done so far here. 1-2 down the count on Grady. Here comes the 1-2 pitch from Nicholson. That one fouled back, and it'll remain 1-2. Nicholson nods to the sign from O'Rourke and delivers that one just high and outside. Grady looked like he thought about pulling the trigger to go after it, but held up. And the count now 2-2. The view you're seeing right now, that camera is just a couple of feet over to my left, so it's a good indication of what I'm seeing directly out of my eyes onto the field. Those 2 tents you see in front of you, that's the Baseball Canada officials, as well as the in-house PA announcer. Those 2 tents, that's who is set up under those. Grounded down to the shortstop, Farrow, across the diamond in time for the 3rd out. So a pop out and 2 ground outs sandwiched around a solo home run, 1 run on 1 hit. No errors, nobody left on base as Mark Phillips hit all 4 bases with that shot. And the Charlottetown Islanders now lead it 1-0. Due up in the bottom of the 4th for Sydney as they come to bat to try and answer that run. It'll be Jordan Shepard, Sean Ferguson, and Breton Sibley. And that shot you're seeing right now is the other camera set up here in my booth, just a couple feet further over to the left. A little bit of a wider view gives you an idea of where the beautiful broadcast position is here. And I got to give the Sooners clubhouse organization again a lot of credit. They've got me up in a fantastic vantage point to see the field. A great facility here, and really nothing but good words to say about the crew here in Sydney. As we get ready for the bottom of the 4th inning, and Jordan Shepard to lead it off. He was caught looking his first time coming up. He was one of 2 strikeout victims of Jay Johnson so far. As first pitch fouled back, and that will be well out of play. 0-1 the count to the right-handed hitting center fielder for the Sooners. And another one that looks like it slips out of the fingers of Johnson. That's happened a couple times now, where looking for the curveball, but just slipping off of his finger. I don't know if it's the humidity in the air tonight that he just can't quite get that grip that he wants for that breaking pitch. Slow roller back to the mound, able to be gathered in by Johnson and flipped over to first for the first out of the inning. That'll bring up Sean Ferguson. And speaking of the Sooners organizing committee, Ferguson, not only the right fielder for the Sooners, but he's been my primary contact for a lot of the setup work that we did to get this broadcast to happen. So I have to give a big shout out to Sean and all of his work that he's done as part of the organizers of this event, as well as being a pretty good ball player. Takes a strike there, and the count 0-1. I gotta stop saying nice things about him, though. It seems like every time I give Sean a compliment, he ends up having a rough at bat. And he takes a ball off of the leg there and was able to hold up off of the swing enough. Or was he? No, it looks like he went around, and so it's not going to be a hit by pitch. It's going to be an 0-2 count instead. Fouls that one up high into the Cape Breton sky. There's a song in that somewhere, I'm sure. If Matt Minglewood is watching, Matt, up high into the Cape Breton sky. There's your kernel of an idea to build a song off of. Or any of the Rankin family. That one will drop in just fair inside the right field line. And Ferguson on his horse gets in with the double. The ball went up into the air, came down in no man's land, just fair along that right field line, and then took a big kick out towards foul territory. And as it kicked away from Johnny Arsenault, that gave Ferguson the extra room that he needed to hustle that out for a double. That'll bring up Bretton Sibley. He grounded out his first time up. So Sibley comes up with one on and one out. And the first pitch to Sibley misses low, ball one. The St. John's Capitals have tied it up in the bottom of the second inning. It's 4-4 over there. So it looks like the offense is all at Jerry Marsh Field while the defense and pitching is here at the Susan McEachern Memorial Ball Field. That one sent foul. And so the count now 1-1 on Bretton Sibley, the DH for the hometown Sydney Sooners. Ferguson with a good lead at second. That pitch misses outside, 2-1. See if we get confirmation of the count before this pitch. It is indeed 2-1. I never quite trust myself to keep the count. Even though I try and mark it down after every pitch to make sure I don't miss anything, I always feel like I miss one somewhere along the line. Count now 2-2, especially if I look over at the updates on the other field on the laptop I've got right beside me here. 2-2 the count, runner on base number 2. And a swing through over the top of it there by Sibley. And that means there's now 2 away. Justin Brewer coming up to bat. He's 0 for 1 on the evening. He grounded out his first time up. as Johnson sets and delivers. Chopped down to third. Across the diamond in plenty of time to get Brewer. That's the second time he's grounded out to third baseman Mark Phillips. So the double by Ferguson does not come to fruition for anything for the Sydney Sooners in the bottom of the fourth. No runs on the one hit, no errors, and one runner left on base. We've played 4 complete. We'll head to the top of 5 with the Charlottetown Islanders leading at 1-0. Due up for the Islanders, it'll be 6, 7, and 8. That being Blake Gallagher, Logan Gallant, and Ryan McIsaac. And the St. John's Capitals have now taken a lead. They're up 6-4 over the Kamloops Sun Devils as they put up 4 runs, still batting in the bottom of the second inning. Just one away, and they've got a runner on first. Now a runner on second. As literally as I was looking at the screen, that got updated. Meanwhile there they've got 10 runs already, and they're still in the bottom of the second inning. Here we've got at least that many fantastic plays, but just the one run on the big blast from Mark Phillips. And just want to take a quick moment to mention as well, if you're looking to have an event streamed, contact Petter Sports and Streaming Services. As the name suggests, our priority is sports, but we'll stream just about anything for you. If you want it put online, we'll find a way to get it there. And the vast, and I mean vast majority of the work that we do at Petter Sports and Streaming Services is through AOTV. So we have to give a big shout out to Chaba Demokos, as well as the people who work with us and work with Chaba, like Dixon Cho and Jeff Porter, excuse me. Sorry, Jeff. First pitch to Blake Gallagher, misses wide. Gallagher 0 for 1 on the evening. He flew out to left field his first time up. That one misses inside, and the count goes to 2-0. Nicholson behind in the count, 2-0, and that one launched out to left field, but it dies on its way down to Andrew Brewer. Brewer, another situation where he was positioned perfectly. Don't know if he had to even move at all for that one. Logan Gallant now, and that's the second time that Gallagher has sent one out to Brewer, and I think between the two flyouts to Brewer has had to move a combined 6 feet at most. So whoever's done the scouting on where Gallagher's going to hit the ball, good job there on the Sydney Sooners coaching staff to get Gallagher, or to get Gallant, to get Brewer positioned, excuse me. Logan Gallant up to bat. He grounded out to the second baseman Sanderson his first time up. And here comes the pitch, fouled back, and I believe we're now at a count of 1-2. Let's see if we get a confirmation of that. Nope, we're at 2-1, excuse me. Well, I had the right number of pitches thrown. I'll take that as something. There's a grounder down to short, gathered in by Farrow across the diamond. And 2 up, 2 down here in the top of the 5th. That'll bring up Ryan McIsaac. And McIsaac grounded out to Farrow his first time up. As Nicholson continues to roll here. Just the one blemish, the solo home run by Mark Phillips. Other than that, there have been 2 walks by Nicholson. That one fouled back into the screen, 1-1 the count. Nicholson also with 2 strikeouts so far through the 4 2/3 innings that he's thrown. Caps put up 2 more, still batting in the bottom of the second. It's now 8-4, 6 runs in this second inning already for the St. John's Capitals, and they're still going. That pitch misses outside, 2-1. Again, the Caps and the Islanders both looking to go to 2-0 to set up a 1-game winner-take-all for the pool tomorrow, and that would end up being the 12:30 game over at Jerry Marsh Field. So we would have the Sun Devils and Sooners game on air at that time. And there's a called third strike, third K for Nicholson, as that's the first time he's caught someone looking. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on base. A quick 3-up, 3-down inning. We'll head to the bottom of the 5th, still 1-0 Islanders. Due up for Sydney in the bottom of 5. It's 8-9-1. Andrew Brewer, Josh Forrest, and Chris Farrow. As Johnson out for his 5th inning of work, and again, you don't count by number of innings necessarily how much work a pitcher has had to do. Pitch count is much more indicative, and for both Johnson and Nicholson, they haven't had to go deep into counts a lot. You look at Johnson, and I think he's gotten to 3 balls twice so far in this game. There have been a couple of times where he's had to throw quite a few pitches because a player has fouled a few off. And on the flip side, for Nicholson, he's walked 2 batters and gotten to 3 balls, I think, 1 other time. And speaking of getting to 3 balls, Johnson, one of those times he got to 3 balls, he ended up walking the batter. So there you have it. The first pitch to Brewer, who's 0 for 1, misses outside. Brewer grounded out to second baseman Justin Cormier his first time up. That one misses outside, ball 2. The Sun Devils finally get out of the bottom of the second inning. It's 8-4 going into the 3rd there. That one misses outside, 3-0. Of course, I make the comment about the pitchers not getting to 3 balls very often in counts, and then Johnson goes and misses with the first 3 that he throws to this batter. Not that I believe in the broadcaster's curse. That one catches the zone, and the count goes to 3-1. The amount of times that a broadcaster will say something and it doesn't jinx the person, nobody ever talks about those. They only ever talk about the times that it happens, and they notice it because it is the exception, not the rule. 3-2 now the count on Brewer. After a 3-0 count, back-to-back strikes delivered by Johnson. And then he gets Brewer to swing and miss. So he goes down in the count 3-0 and comes back with 3 straight strikes for his 4th K of the evening. That'll bring up the third baseman Josh Forrest. Forrest, one of those 4 strikeout victims so far. That pitch catches the outside corner, 0-1. So now 4 straight strikes thrown by the left-hander from the Charlottetown Islanders. That one will catch the inside of the line in right field, and another double for the Sydney Sooners as Josh Forrest doubles to right and flips over the order. Chris Farrow due up. Farrow 2 for 2 on the afternoon, or on the evening, excuse me. An infield single in the first, and then a single into the outfield in the second, or in the third, excuse me, and now comes up with 1 on, 1 out in the fifth. The one who's on standing at second base. And of course, Josh Forrest after the double just a moment ago. Now they're going to appeal. And Forrest did indeed touch first base, and that's going to get a bit of an argument here. As the Islander coaching staff coming out to talk to the umpire and holding his hands out. You can see how wide he's holding his hands out, saying he missed it by that much. But the appeal at first was denied. So play will go on. And the Sydney fans not taking too kindly to the attempted appeal. That pitch misses, and Farrow able to hold up. So the count 1-0. And here comes the 1-0 delivery. Fouled back into the screen. It's 1-1. One ball, one strike, 1 on, 1 out. 1-0 the score here in Sydney. Swing and a miss. Strike 2. Farrow tried to hold up, but couldn't as he swung over top of that one. And the 1-2 count. The 1-2 pitch misses inside. Nice block there by Logan Gallant to keep the ball close enough in front of him that Forrest couldn't make a break for third. So 2-2 now the count. Johnson looks back at Forrest, delivers to Farrow, who just gets a piece of that ball to stay alive. And it remains 2-2. We'll see another 2-2 pitch again. Fouled back literally into the screen as the ball gets wedged in the mesh. And so we'll get the 7th pitch of this at-bat for Chris Farrow. And Farrow, this is the 17th pitch overall that he's seen from Johnson in his 3 plate appearances, and is able to loop it just over top of the shortstop. The throw home, not in time as the tag made. Forrest trying to claim that he was able to avoid the tag, but he is called out. Yes, Forrest trying to claim that he avoided the tag. Count the put out 7-2. And that's the second out of the inning. Farrow with the single advances to second on the throw home. And the score remains 1-0 after the tag applied to Josh Forrest, trying to avoid the tag, but couldn't get around as Gallant was able to get the tag laid after the throw in from Grant Grady. Now stealing third is Farrow, and he's able to get in there. And that's his 2nd stolen base of this game and his, 6th stolen base overall this weekend, and he's only in his 2nd game. But there are now 2 away. That pitch fouled off. And I believe the count is 1-1. I thought that first pitch was called a ball. I got to admit I was distracted by Farrow breaking for third. That's the one thing about Major League Baseball broadcasts. They've got enough people in their booth that different people are dedicated to watch. It was 0-2, obviously, as Sanderson gets caught looking on a called third strike. That's the 5th K for Johnson, and no runs on 2 hits, no errors, and 1 runner left on base. The big play of that inning, though, the throw from Grant Grady out in left field in to the catcher, Logan Gallant, who was able to apply the tag on Josh Forrest to keep this a 1-0 ball game. We'll head to the top of inning number 6. Due up for Charlottetown in the 6th. It'll be Johnny Arsenault, and then back to the top of the order for Taylor Larkin and Justin Cormier. As we get ready for the top of the 6th inning. Sorry, folks, there I just had to turn off my microphone for a second so that I could take a quick drink of water. I shouldn't say quick drink, it was a long drink of water. Trying to get those vocal cords nice and moistened again. And a called strike on the first pitch to Johnny Arsenault. Arsenault flew out to center his first time up. I didn't disappear on you or anything, folks. I just didn't think you'd want to listen to me drinking. That one fouled off and the count 0-2. And that will do it for that bat for Johnny Arsenault. He has to come over and get some new lumber. And while he does, we'll let you know the score over at Jerry Marsh Field in New Waterford remains 8-4 in the top of the third inning. Kamloops, though, threatening again. They've got the bases loaded and just one out. So the 4-run deficit may be cut partially or completely here, as there has yet to be a half inning without somebody scoring. And we'll see if that remains to be true here as they Sun Devils bat with the bases loaded and one away. Here, the count now goes to 1-2 as the 0-2 pitch misses high to Arsenault. And again, St. John's and Charlottetown, the two teams that come into this evening with 1-0 records in this pool. That one pulled well foul out of play on the right side. And here comes another 1-2 pitch. Bounced down to third, gathered up by Forrest across in time. So 1 up, 1 down here in the top of 6. Brings us back around to the top of the order, Taylor Larkin. Larkin, one of just 3 Islanders to reach base as he walked back in the third, but was then caught stealing. Swing and a miss there, and Owen won the count. So despite trailing right now 1-0, Sooners pitcher Garrett Nicholson at this point has faced just 2 over the minimum. 3 people have reached base, 1 again canceled out by the caught stealing. Unfortunately for Nicholson, one of the 3 who reached base was Mark Phillips with that 330 some odd foot home run, the solo shot back in the top of the 4th. And equally unfortunate for the Sooners, they have not been able to respond to that run as of yet. 3-1 the count here now on Larkin, or 2-1, excuse me, the count here on Larkin. I thought I missed a pitch, so I ended up adding one in my head. That one catches the inside corner, and it's now 2-2. Larkin, the speedy center fielder. And then, I know you'll say, but Mike, he was caught stealing last time he was on base. Yes, but he's still got plenty of speed. It was just a really good play. And there's a called third strike, as that's now the 4th strikeout for Nicholson. 2nd time he's caught an Islander looking. And the 2nd out of the top of the 6th inning. That'll bring up Justin Cormier. He's one of those 3 players who have reached base. He walked back in the 1st. So just 1 hit and 2 walks, all that have been given up by Nicholson. And this one chopped right down the first base line to Justin Brewer, who just had to take one little side step over after he picked up the ball to touch the bag. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on base. We've played 5.5, and it's still 1-0 in favor of the Charlottetown Islanders. Due up for the Sooners. They've got 2 innings left to try and find something, and they're in the heart of their order right now. 3, 4, and 5. Carson O'Rourke, the catcher, Jordan Shepard, the center fielder, and Sean Ferguson, the right fielder, will be tasked to try and get 1 to tie it up and 2 to put them into a go-ahead situation heading into the top of the 7th. But Jay Johnson, we talk about the line for Garrett Nicholson. Jay Johnson, his line so far tonight, he's given up 5 hits over 5 innings. He's only walked 1, but he's also struck out 5, and twice he's had 2 runners on base in the same inning. And both times he was able to get out of it. Here comes Carson O'Rourke. He reached on a fielder's choice. He lined out to the shortstop and he lined out to the first baseman his 2 times up. My apologies. And as I look over, BC has put Kamloops, has put 2 runs on the board. So it's now 8-6. Swing and a miss there from O'Rourke. And the bases are still loaded for the Sun Devils in the top of the 3rd there. That one fouled way back. So now there's 2 strikes on O'Rourke. I believe it's 1-2. I thought that first pitch was a ball, so it would be 1-2. That one just misses, and now I believe we're at 2-2. We'll wait for... No, it's now 1-2. So the first pitch was a strike, then the second one was fouled, and then the third one was fouled to keep it 0-2. That one misses inside, and it's now 2-2. Now we're at 2-2. Everything's good. So it's now 8-7 as Kamloops puts another run up on the board there. That pitch misses outside, and the count full here for O'Rourke. So unless this game goes several extra innings, the game between St. John's and Kamloops likely to be well in progress for quite a while after we go off the air tonight. Again, unless something happens here. A slow roller to the third baseman, but charging and picking it up and making a play, Mark Phillips. Phillips having a great game at the hot corner there. That's the 4th ground out to third base, or 5th play that Phillips has made at the hot corner, including the sacrifice bunt back in the first inning. Phillips doing a great job on all of those. Now here comes Jordan Shepard. He's 0 for 2 and takes the first pitch strike. Struck out looking in the first, grounded back to the pitcher in the 4th, and that game is now tied over in New Waterford as Kamloops has put up a 4th run in that 3rd inning. That pitch misses inside, 1-1 the count. And they still have runners on 2nd and 3rd and just 1 out. Swing and a foul tip there. And the count goes to 1-2. And you got to think that both of these teams, the Sooners and the Islanders, have to be... Swing and a miss, strike 3. The ball goes into the dirt, so having to get up and throw it down to first is Logan Gallant, and he gets it there in time. Count the put out 2-3 for the second out of the inning, for those of you keeping score at home. That brings up Sean Ferguson. He doubled to right field his last time up. Comes up with 2 away here in the bottom of the 6th. 2 more runs for Kamloops. It's now 10-8. And the comment I was about to make, both of these teams have to be thrilled that whatever team they're facing tomorrow, for Charlottetown it will be St. John's, and for the Sooners it will be Kamloops. both of those teams, you got to figure their pitching staffs are getting decimated. And that one's going to hit Ferguson, and he will get the base this time on the hit by pitch. That's the second time in this game that a pitch has hit him, but the first time it was indicated that he was swinging, so it didn't count. And he also got hit by a pitch in yesterday's game. That brings up Breton Sibley. He's 0 for 2, grounded out to second and struck out. So with 2 away here and a runner on first, the Sooners have the tying run on base. That game over at Jerry Marsh Field, I'm just looking at the score line as well. 7 errors committed so far in that game. So not only is it the pitching having issues, but the defense having issues as well. That pitch misses inside, ball 1. Here we've had a very clean ball game. Both of these pitchers doing a great job. Runner going, and Ferguson able to slide in safely. Sibley swung and missed at that pitch. May have been a hit and run, not a straight steal. And so now we're going to see a pinch runner. After Sean Ferguson gets a steal, Corey McAdam is going to come in and run for him. So with Corey McAdam now standing at second base, Breton Sibley, for some reason my mouth just wanted to stop working there for a minute, has a 1-1 count. That pitch misses inside, and we should indicate that the runner is now on second base. There we go. 2-1 the count to the Sooners' designated hitter. Swings through that one, and it's 2-2. Jay Johnson working through 5 2/3 innings so far. That one off the fists into foul territory, but not enough time for Gallagher to get over and underneath that ball. The first base coach for the Sooners, in a walking cast, had to try and hobble his way out of the way for Gallagher, but Gallagher never really did have a chance on that ball. Another one off the fists, sent foul above the bleachers on the first base side, excuse me. And Sibley now into the 7th pitch of this at bat. And a curveball catches the outside corner for strike 3. So no runs, no hits, no errors, but 1 runner left on base after Sean Ferguson reached on the hit by pitch. The Sooners not able to take advantage of it. We'll head to inning number 7 with the Charlottetown Islanders coming out to look for some insurance. They lead by a score of 1-0. It'll be Logan McDougall, Mark Phillips, and Grant Grady due up to bat. As take another look at the update from the field over in New Waterford. And it is still 10-8 in favor of the Kamloops Sun Devils over the St. John's Capitals. Sun Devils still batting in the top of the third with the bases loaded and 2 out. Meanwhile here, we've got the quintessential pitchers duel. A 1-0 ball game. The lone run coming off the bat of Mark Phillips, a solo home run out to left field. And we mentioned Phillips, he's due up second here in the top of 7 for the Islanders to try and pick up some insurance. So here comes Logan McDougall. He's 0 for 2. Reached by way of a fielder's choice, as well as grounding out to third. Skies that one, and that'll go back over our broadcast booth here and land back probably in the creek just a little ways behind us. So the count 0-1. That one into the sky in right field, and over to make the catch is the new right fielder, Corey McAdam, who came in to pinch run and then play right. That'll bring up Mark Phillips, and as we mentioned, Phillips right now the hero of this ball game. He's not only had 5 defensive plays that he's made at third base, he's also scored the only run of the game with the solo homer back in the 4th. He sends this one out to center field, and that's going to drop in for a single. So Phillips, with his second hit of the game, gives the Islanders a base runner. That'll bring up Grant Grady. He's 0 for 2, struck out and grounded out. His 2 times up to the plate. Just the second hit of the game for the Islanders, and both of them coming from Mark Phillips. And this Islanders team, we mentioned it earlier tonight, this Islanders team put up 10 on the Kamloops Sun Devils in just a 6-inning game yesterday. So that just adds to the quality of the performance we've had from Nicholson. Grounder over to third. Forrest gets it to second for 1. Over to first, not in time, as Sanderson did what he could to make the turn on the double play at second base, but was not able to turn it. So 5-4 on the putout on the fielder's choice, and Grant Grady ends up replacing Mark Phillips at first. That'll bring up Blake Gallagher. He's 0 for 2. Flew out to left fielder Andrew Brewer, and as we mentioned last time, Gallagher was up after flying out to Brewer. Brewer had to move a grand total of about 6 feet on those 2 flyouts. He's been positioned perfectly both times. This time, first pitch is fouled directly back into the screen in front of us here, and the count 0-1. The Sun Devils are finally retired in the top of the 3rd inning after scoring 6. So far in that game, the Sun Devils have scored 3 in the first, 1 in the second, 6 in the third. And the Capitals have scored 2 in the first and 6 in the second. And they're about to come to bat in the third. So they have all the bats right now. We have all the pitching here. And I got to admit, I've been enjoying this ball game. It has been thoroughly entertaining to watch these stellar performances by Nicholson and Johnson. Nicholson delivers the 0-2. That misses inside. trying to say that it hit him on the foot on the way by, but he's not going to win that argument. And so the count now 1-2. One-two pitch misses a little bit high and outside, and it's now 2-2. And that one misses outside, and the count has run full. Payoff pitch. Misses high, ball 4. And that'll put runners at first and second with 2 away for Logan Gallant. He's 0 for 2, grounded out twice. And this just the first time all game that the Islanders have had 2 players reach base in the same inning. And again, that just to show the great game that Nicholson has had. And you know that the Sooners anxious to get back to the bats so they can try and get him some run support and get him on the right side of the ledger. That one popped into shallow right field. Coming in hard to make the catch, and making the catch is Corey McAdam for the third out. McAdam on his horse to get there for that one. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 2 runners left on base. And we'll head to the bottom of the 7th. Last chance for the Sooners. And it's going to be 7-8-9 due up. Justin Brewer, Andrew Brewer, and Josh Forrest. So we go to the last half inning of this ball game. Unless the Sooners can score 1 to tie it and extend it, or it might be the last half inning of this ball game because the Sooners score 2 to win it. We've had 1 walk-off already in this tournament. It was the opening game here at this field yesterday. We talked about it a few times. The Dartmouth Mooseheads and the Elmwood Giants were locked up at goose eggs all the way into the bottom of the 7th. 2 away in the bottom of the 7th. And the home run hero in that game, Chris Norquay, or Norkey. And Norkey sending that one out over the right field fence to give the Elmwood Giants the 1-0 victory. Giants then fell today to the Edmonton Cubs. So the Giants are now 1-1. So we have already seen walk-off drama. Are we going to get another case of it here? Well, it'll start with the first baseman, Justin Brewer. Brewer grounded out to third twice. 2 of those putouts by Mark Phillips of the 5 that he's had so far. Phillips 5 for 5 on defensive chances this evening. First pitch to Brewer misses outside, ball 1. Actually, more than that, because there was a fielder's choice as well that was grounded to third, and the putout made at second. So 6 for 6. I think. No, 5 for 5. I was right the first time. That one catches the outside corner, and the count now 1-2. Brewer, and Forrest for the Sooners to try and tie up this ball game or possibly end it in their favor. But it starts with a strikeout as Justin Brewer swings through the third strike. And that's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th strikeout. And we're going to get a pinch hitter in for Andrew Brewer. It's going to be Corey Christie. Christie played in yesterday's game. Takes the first pitch, or swings through a first pitch strike. Yesterday, Christie went 0 for 2 with a walk. And if I remember correctly, Corey Christie, the oldest active Sooner at 41 years of age, takes a strike there. It's now 0-2. I remember 41. It was a few years ago. Not a lot, but a few. And I can't imagine having been playing baseball at this level 7 years ago. Tells you how old I am. Of course, when I was 41, I was already well into broadcasting a ton of hockey and a little bit of baseball here and there. Swing and a miss. And back-to-back strikeouts. That's the 9th K for Jay Johnson. And that brings up Josh Forrest as the last chance for the Sooners. He's 1 for 2 with a double and a strikeout so far this evening. Doubled to right and then was called out trying to score on a single by Chris Farrow back in the 5th inning. And here comes Forrest. Fouls that one down the third base line, the count 0-1. What a gem from Jay Johnson so far. 6 2/3 innings, 9 strikeouts, spreading out 5 hits so far. Just the 1 walk. Grounder to second. This could be the ball game, and it is a complete game shutout for Jay Johnson. If you had to pick a player of the game for the Islanders, do you go with the complete game shutout for Jay Johnson, or do you go with the only run of the game on the solo home run by Mark Phillips, who also had 5 defensive putouts? Hard to pick between those two. If you had to pick a player of the game for Sydney, I don't know how you pick anybody except Garrett Nicholson. Again, a stellar pitching line for Nicholson. 2 hits, 1 run on 2 hits, 2 walks, and 1, 2, 3, 4 strikeouts. But the 1 run, the difference in this game, Mark Phillips with the solo shot in the top of the 4th. Islanders go to 2-0. The Sydney Sooners fall to 0-2. They'll be playing for their life tomorrow. Next broadcast is at 9:30 tomorrow morning, as we'll have the game between the Windsor Royals and. On behalf of the 2 awesome guys who've been helping me out all weekend with the back end of this broadcast, wife Karen, who took a little bit of a break on the camera today, but she's been working hard all weekend. This is Michael Petter saying, may your pitches hit the corners and may your liners do like. Final score once again, it is a 1-0 victory for the Charlottetown Goodies Auto Body watching. Enjoy the rest of your Friday night.